This man just witnessed his greatest nightmare, and this man created it. With the release of Pulse back in 2001, Kiyoshi Kurosawa gave birth to one of the best horror movies of all time. Its signature style, the use of shadows and long takes, the uncanny mimicry of human movements and appearance, the foreboding sense of dread that somehow continues to rise with each scene, crafted some of the most terrifying moments ever put to film. So when I finally got the chance to watch one of Kurosawa's earlier works, one promising a similar air of darkness and mystery, I simply couldn't turn it down. But while I expected it to share much of the tone in Pulse, employing similar tactics to get under your skin, it actually prioritizes tension over fear, evoking feelings within the audience about the outcome of a scene instead of the real world. You see, unlike Pulse, Kira doesn't conjure the same feelings as a typical horror film and leave you feeling dread, questioning the shadows in your own room or the dark corner down the hall. It instead makes you question what will happen to the characters in the film, whether the current scene will follow the same patterns as the previous scenes, revealing information to make your own knowledge more of a burden than an asset. Kira follows Detective Takabe as he investigates a string of murders committed by a series of upstanding citizens, whose only connection to one another appears to be their spontaneous turn to evil, as if they just woke up one day and decided to kill the person sitting next to them. Government officials, doctors, teachers, all suddenly turning to violence with no explanation, carving a mysterious X into their victim's throat after killing them. In creating the story, Kurosawa took inspiration from real life. When you learn about murders in the news, you often hear great shock from the culprit's family and friends, who say that they can't believe their husband or brother would have done such a thing, that they must have actually been a horrible killer pretending to be a good person. Kurosawa, though, wondered differently. Couldn't a good father, a courteous person, a polite person, suddenly kill someone without having a secret homicidal side? No one understands what motivates a criminal. Sometimes not even the criminal.
犯罪の動機なんてのは所詮他人にはわからん。時に本人にもな。
Kurosawa establishes this idea in the film's introduction, that at any point, one character might simply kill another character. A seemingly blissful, unassuming man may just bash a woman's head in with a pipe. Regardless of their appearance or gender or social standing, everyone has unseen characteristics that make them untrustworthy. And by removing this trust in normal people, he manages to create tension with little more than a simple frame. Like this one. But let's back up a bit. The scene begins with the same shot of the beach, just with nobody on it. We then cut to another man sitting down and looking out at something off screen. However, when we cut back to the shore, we see what the man sees. Another man standing on the beach, as if he simply appeared from nothing. For the next 48 seconds, we hear nothing but ambient sounds. No music, no dialogue, just the waves and the wind. The camera simply holds on this unknown man, and we only have the information from the film's previous killing to fall back on. At first, we see this man looking at the sky, only for him to turn his attention towards the camera, towards the other man, and start walking. But much like the film's first killer, we know nothing about this man or his intentions. We can only make inferences based on what we've already seen, which only makes him seem more dangerous. So, as he gets closer, this uncertainty only grows, rising until...
今見てもそうですね。これは無茶だなっていうぐらい長く回しているので。
Kira explores many ideas related to the human mind, with the film's primary antagonist, Mamiya, employing hypnotic suggestion to influence otherwise normal people into committing violent crimes. In keeping with the film's focus on the dangers in the mundane, Mamiya uses everyday objects to initiate his hypnotism. We first see him use a lighter to place a man in a trance, the flame's influence visualized by the space it occupies on the screen. And once we draw a connection between the flame and Mamiya's influence, between Mamiya's interaction with the person and their eventual change, we try to predict what will happen, following the patterns we believe the film is establishing. So, later on, even in a simple shot like this, without suspenseful music or darkness but on a calm, sunny day, our assumptions of patterns meld with the long stillness of the scene, and we expect something to happen. In filming Cure, Kurosawa didn't have the luxury to schedule for specific conditions, so he just went with whatever weather he encountered, which only further reinforces this never safe, uneasy feeling established at the beginning of the film, that even the time of day doesn't guarantee your safety. Cure also employs long takes to provide clarity. In this scene, Detective Takabe interrogates the latest perpetrator in the still unconnected string of murders. The man calmly explains why he killed his co-worker, matter-of-factly describing his train of thought. But once the investigators introduce the man to a catalyst similar to Mamiya's lighter, we see the man undergo the full process of hypnotism in real time. That is, without cutting away from the man or altering our perception, giving us the same experience as the investigators and allowing us to see the man's state of mind change from that of calm, to confusion, to realization. But what happens when you can't start a fire on the set? When the real hospital you're shooting in won't let you use a lighter? Just use water. Water, though, isn't as easy to film as fire, at least not if you want it to move. It doesn't always travel how you want it to. So, thinking outside of the box, Kurosawa did his own illusion, recreating a piece of the floor and then tilting that piece to get the right flow. And just like Mamiya, Kurosawa's victims, us, never even realized the influence he had. Everything seemed normal. But Kurosawa's connection to Mamiya doesn't end there. You see, Kurosawa told Mamiya's actor, Masato Hagiwara, to remove his previous criminal roles, to create an empty, clean slate for this new character, a process similar to what Mamiya himself does. Throughout the film, Mamiya appears to have no sense of self, no recollection of his own name, unable to even recognize his own image. He seems to exist as a force of nature, appearing suddenly to influence those around him, the physical manifestation of an intrusive thought. But recreating this effect may have actually worked too well, since Kurosawa wanted to work with Hagiwara afterwards, but failed to separate him from his performance as Mamiya, ultimately keeping the pair from producing more films together. Despite all the devastation he encounters during his investigation, Takabe largely maintains a stoic expression, not reacting to his environment with much visible emotion. In preparation for the film, Kurosawa took inspiration from other movies, having Takabe's actor, Koji Yakusho, watch the Persian film And Life Goes On, whose main character just quietly and steadily gazes while encountering various situations, which likely led to Takabe's emotionless expression throughout much of Cure. However, in his moments with Mamiya, we see his rage unleash, his patience not holding him back like with the other culprits. When Mamiya pulls out his lighter or introduces water, we expect the same thing to happen to Takabe as Mamiya's previously hypnotized victims. We question if we missed something, if Takabe too had fallen under hypnosis, fallen prey to an intrusive thought, but returned to a state of clarity, only to realize the tragedy of what has happened. And all this uncertainty arises not from music, but from an item that appeared on screen, and the power we believe it has. So, if the entire frame is a threat, what does he see?